Hi everyone, welcome back to Miss Mobile Tech. So I've had the OnePlus 9 for a little over a month now, and this is my full review to show you what I found very good, what I found improvable, and what's overall my conclusion. So let's go, shall we? So I've meshed this up in two categories, pros and cons, and within that I'll note the good things and the improvable things. Because I think that's basically what you do when you really review a phone. You just show what you think is good, what could be better, and what's your ultimate conclusion. So for my pros, I'm going to start with one thing I really like about this phone, and that is the design. That is the simple yet sleek form factor. The plastic frame, yes, it is plastic, but I don't mind because, in my opinion, plastic is better than glass. Glass is much more breakable. Would I have loved to seen another aluminum build or a metallic build? Absolutely. Would I have preferred that? Absolutely. But am I okay with plastic? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, for me that is no problem. Also in the pros category is for me the screen. It is a 6.5-inch screen, but it is a 19:9 aspect ratio, which gives you just that good hold in your hand. It's not that big, it's not that wide, it's just good. And I have small hands, so for me that is pretty crucial. Also, what I like about the design is that it has a flat screen, so no round of edges. I do like the aesthetics of an edge glass screen, but it's so much more fragile. And in my opinion, right now there's not much software or apps that really utilize that edge screen for what it can do and what it can become, besides just be side of the screen. Also, one thing I really love about the design, of course, I love it that I keep bringing this back, and I hope it stays on every OnePlus forevermore, is the alert slider. Of course, it's so simple, so necessary when you start using it. You really miss it when you use another phone and you don't have it. So that, absolutely a pro. I told you the screen size was really good. What I also really think, moving on more internally, is the processor and the screen. They together, you breeze through the system. It's so fast, it's not laggy, and I really love that. Also when you're playing games a lot. I don't play games that very often, in all honesty, but I have played them just to see how they would respond, and they respond so quick and so good, and that's something I really, really love about this phone. Also, I've heard a lot about OnePlus not really being regular with OS updates, but I have to say with the OnePlus 9, in my experience, I've had it for like 4 weeks, maybe towards 5 right now, and I've had like at least four OS updates so far, all improving camera, battery life, things like that, things they should improve. Coming back to that later, but they are busy with that, so that is really good. Of course, I cannot mention the pros of the phone without mentioning some parts of the camera system. And I say some parts because I'm coming back to that also later, unfortunately. But in the camera, the main camera, I actually really like it for photographing still objects, nature, landscapes, architecture, that sort of thing. It is great, and I absolutely love the macro camera. Love it. I used to be much more of a fan of the ultra wide camera. I'll come back to that later. But right now I really love to look at things close up and really see the detail. And this phone brings that absolutely perfect, in my opinion. So that is absolutely a great plus. And last but not least on my pros list is something that I think every manufacturer should have this because it makes life so much more easy. It is not specifically the phone, but the charging brick. 65-watt charging is amazing. You can get this phone full in about 30 minutes, and that is literally. Okay, depending on how warm the environment is and how warm your phone is, it can take a little bit longer, a few minutes longer, but it took me more or less half an hour every time, and that is such a good feeling. To know that when you're running out of battery and you only have about 45 minutes left and you're like, oh my god, I only have 10% left, you can still do a little something on your phone and then charge it, and it will be full before you have to go. That is amazing. And for me, that is one of the best things about this phone, literally. Alright, so Every phone has its ups and its downs, so here comes the cons of this review. First of all, I have to say, like I said, I love the design, but the glossy finish, the slippery finish, it makes the phone slippery. So I would have loved, for example, a matte finish, so it's a little bit more grippy. This one, it can slide out of your hands really fast. So I do advise a case, and I have to say, in Europe we get a case in the box, which is awesome, and it's a pretty standard silicone case. It has never settled on the case itself, and some little inside there is a little sort of rough texture to keep it steady, which is really good. It looks very nice. It's a simple but very easy design. I don't really prefer cases. I love to have them just the phones like that, or I use skins, but to have that included in the case is very nice. Coming back to the design also, I love the camera design on the back. Actually, I really like the aesthetics, but I don't really like the fact that the camera lenses are actually more extended than the whole camera setup. So you have the camera brick, and then two of the three lenses are extended even higher. So they're higher above the camera platform. And this makes the phone more wobbly on the table, and it's also more prone to damage. So I love the way it looks, I really do, but it's not that safe, I think. Then moving on to the next thing I was a little bit bummed by is the fact, it's a small thing, but for me, the fact that the volume rockers are on the left side instead of the right side. Every time I picked up the phone, well, not every time, but a lot of times when I picked up the phone, I started making screenshots because I was holding both buttons at the same time. So I would love to see the alert slider being flipped back to the left side and the volume rockers flipped back to the right side. Then the world would be alright again. Another thing I find to be somewhat of a disappointment is there is no headphone jack. And yes, I know we live in the 21st century right now. Everyone uses Bluetooth earbuds, Bluetooth headphones, me too included, absolutely. But if you do want to use a headphone, or if you are like me and you record all your information or your videos from your phone and you want better audio, you want to add a mic, and you do that through the headphone jack. If it doesn't have it, you have to work with an extension for your USB Type-C slot, of course, for the charging, to make that a recording slot as well. That's a bit of a hassle, and it's just a headphone jack. A lot of companies with a lot of cheaper phones manage to put a headphone jack in there. So not much of a big deal for someone, but for me, it is. Alright, so if we're then moving on to the next thing on my cons list, it is the memory. I have the 256 gigabytes version, which is amazing. I love to have that much memory. But there is no option for an SD slot. And yes, if you have a lot of internal options, that's no problem. And there's a lot of possibilities in the cloud these days. That's awesome. But again, if you are someone who creates a lot of videos or things on your phone and you want to move those videos to another source somewhere, you need to make things easy, an SD card, a nano card, a micro SD card, I don't care, just an SD card to make things go more smooth. Right now I have to keep on sending things through Bluetooth and through WeTransfer, and it takes a lot of time. So adding a micro SD card slot or a nano SD card slot would have been very awesome. And on that note, I would love to see the next phone also have a possibility for maybe a 512 version to just have the options, because there are people who like a lot of internal memory on their phones to play games and everything. So that would be also nice to see. Coming back to the next one, I've mentioned it as my ultimate pro to have the charging system. One of the cons of this phone for me personally is the battery. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's not actually that bad. We're talking about a 4500 mAh battery, and smartphones these days in 2021 tend to come out with around 5,000. So it's a bit of a shame this one is stuck at 4500. But it's also not that amazing. It is good. You come through a day, you get through a day. Yes, you do. But you will need to charge your phone after that. You really use it, you won't make it longer than that. Of course, the upside to that is that you have a 65-watt charging system, which really knocks this out of the park. But it would have been nice to have just a little bit more stronger battery in it. Security features on your phone are even more important every day since hacking becomes such a nice thing to do for people. And so the fact that this phone has both a in-screen fingerprint reader and the face recognition is very awesome. They are very fast, but I do have to say the fingerprint reader sometimes doesn't work directly. You have to tap the screen first before it works. And that's not a problem if that's all the time and you know it, but it's sometimes. So sometimes you press it and nothing happens. So that's just a bit of a shame. But I think that could be saved with a software update, so would be nice. Same goes for the face recognition, which is pretty good, really fast, but there's no like race to wake, so you have to press the power button physically for it to activate. So it would be awesome to have in the menu an option that says, if I raise my phone, I want it to go unlock through face recognition. Alright, so now we come to it again. The apple of this phone's eye, the Hasselblad camera system. You have a 48 megapixel normal camera, a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera and a 2 megapixel monochrome lens. Okay, everybody's talked about it already, and it is true, this phone does not have OIS, optical image stabilization. And what this does, you really notice when your objects are moving around and when you are taking a photo of something that's not standing totally still. Because it eliminates a little bit of the movement, so it keeps a clear shot. And like I said, you don't notice this with things that are really still in nature or like architecture, things like that. But when the thing that you want to photograph is like a child or a pet or something else that is moving, you will see it. And that is a bit of a shame, I think, personally, for this camera, especially for a camera that has such an amazing brand to work with it. If we then go to the ultra wide camera, it's okay, but the thing about this ultra wide camera was supposed to be that the edges don't seem to be as round off as other ultra wide cameras. Now I do have to say that is true in a way, but when I place this ultra wide shot next to another ultra wide shot, what you see basically is that it sort of looks like the sides are being tipped over. So it's not like rounded off like normally. And then the last but not least camera, the monochrome lens. My favorite, I love a good monochrome lens, I really do, but my con about this is there is a dedicated monochrome lens and there is nothing in the camera menu. Yes, there's a filter. You can add a black and white filter over your shots, but if I wanted a filter, I could use just a filter. If you give me a dedicated monochrome lens, I would like to have the option in the menu to use it as a dedicated option. On my P40 I have a monochrome lens and I actually have an option in the menu that says monochrome. And when I turn to that, it just turns black and white. Now you might say, okay, if you have a filter, then what's the problem? Well, the problem is I don't use filters at all. I only use a filter when I make a thumbnail for YouTube, so it really pops out a little bit more. But apart from that, I never edit my photos, especially because I think you really need to see what you're getting from the phone unedited, just the possibility from the phone itself. So also, if there's no option in the menu and I'm trying out every option in the menu, I forget about it. So that's what I thought when I was doing my camera review the first time around. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, my camera videos are done. And I was like, I don't have any monochrome shots. But I didn't see any monochrome option in the menu as well. And then I started looking and I found it in a filter. And I'm sorry, if you dedicate a lens to it, I think there should be an option in the menu. That's just my opinion. So there you have it. That is my pros and cons video of the OnePlus 9. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot to like about this phone, absolutely. I mean, the aesthetics are beautiful. You breeze through your games and your software and everything. Every app you try in a second, no problem. It handles everything beautifully. But there's also a lot that could be better. So some of those things can be worked up and get upgraded through software updates, absolutely. But some can't. I would love to see the next phone, maybe the T version, have OIS again. I don't know why they let that slip, because it's a really big thing. And I would love all phones to have the 65 watt charging system. Absolutely, it's amazing. It's so stress-free. Doesn't matter how late you are. if you have like half an hour or maybe 20 minutes. If you have 20 minutes, your phone is at easily 80%. So that is amazing. So I would love to see that. But there are also some things that could have been done better and that I would have loved to see better at a phone priced at my version 800 euros. The 128 version is 700 euros. If you would ask me, is it worth the 800 euros? I'm not sure. If they would have priced it lower like they did in the beginning when they came up with OnePlus. Like, say if they priced this phone for about 600 euros, it would be amazing. Absolutely. Great phone, great possibilities. But right now there are just a few things not really on par with competitors with the price for me to say absolutely yeah. If you are considering to buy this phone, please let me know. And also I want to thank everybody for watching my videos, because I just received a message on my phone while filming this for you. You probably won't see it till a few days because then I will have edited everything together. But I have just reached 500 subscribers. Thanks so much to you. You did that by watching my content, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. It is awesome, and I hope you keep watching with me, and I hope to keep showing you what's in my life. I've ordered a little present for myself, and I will be unboxing and showing everything about that also soon. It's gonna be something totally different, but I'm just a bit of a nerd that way. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you have any ideas, and if you want to know something about the OnePlus 9 or anything else, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching, and I would really hope to see you in the next one.